On a calm August evening in 2019, the stables outside Cape Town were settling into their usual quiet rhythm. Horses rested, the air was cool, and for a moment, everything felt peaceful. But before the night was over, that peace would be shattered. A young woman named Meagan Cremer, kind-hearted, disciplined, and known for her love of horses, vanished without a trace from the very place she called home. Her disappearance would trigger days of desperate searching and eventually lead investigators to a grim discovery that shocked not just her family, but an entire community. This is the heartbreaking story of Meagan Cremer, a woman whose life revolved around compassion, hard work, and animals, and whose death revealed troubling cracks in the justice system meant to protect her. Meagan was 29 years old, a show jumper, and someone everyone in the equestrian community seemed to know. She lived on a small farm in, pardon me if I pronounce this incorrectly, Vaderlandsche Rietvlei, near Philippi, Cape Town, where she worked and took care of horses. Friends described her as grounded, generous, and quiet. You know, one of those people who'd rather spend time in the stables than in the city. Her life wasn't flashy, but it was full. Early mornings, long days, and a deep love for the animals she cared for. So when she stopped answering messages and calls on the 3rd of August 2019, it immediately felt wrong. That Saturday evening, Meagan was seen leaving the farm in her white Toyota Auris. She texted a friend that she was heading home after a long day. Then, silence. Her phone stopped pinging. She didn't show up for work the next morning. Her colleagues at the farm grew anxious and alerted the police. It didn't take long for word to spread. Posters went up, friends posted online, and the hashtag #FindMeaganCremer began circulating. The search officially began, but by then, her car and Meagan had already vanished. Within days, investigators located Meagan's car, and inside it, several of her belongings. Police arrested 3 men, Jeremy Sears, Charles Daniels, and Shiraz Jafta, all of whom were known around the Philippi area. At first there was confusion. The suspects gave conflicting stories. Sears, who had worked on the same farm before, became the central focus. When questioned, he admitted to driving her car, but his version of what happened to Meagan kept changing. And soon the investigation would take a drastic turn. On the 8th of August 2019, 5 days after she went missing, Jeremy Sears led police to a remote sand mine in Philippi. There, under a pile of sand, they found Meagan's body. She had been tied up, and there was a ribbon-like restraint around her neck. Her family had to identify her through her jewelry. Her face was too disfigured from the elements to recognize. It was a moment of unbearable grief. Friends, family, and total strangers flooded social media with tributes. Candlelight vigils were held across the city. Meagan's death had struck a nerve, not just because of the brutality of it, but because she had been in what many thought was a safe space. A place that should have protected her. During the trial, Sears admitted he dumped Meagan's body, but he denied killing her. He claimed he found her car with the key still in it, drove it away, and only later discovered her body in the boot. He said he panicked and got rid of it because he was afraid. But the prosecution didn't buy it. They argued that Sears attacked Meagan in or near her cottage, strangled her, and stole her car and possessions to cover up the crime. What followed was a trial within a trial, arguments about whether his confession was voluntary or made under pressure. Witnesses testified that police may have coerced his statements. The investigation itself came under fire for mishandled evidence and alleged misconduct, which cast a long shadow over the case. In January 2023, the Western Cape High Court handed down its verdict. The judge acquitted Sears of murder, ruling that there wasn't enough solid evidence to prove he killed Meagan. However, he was found guilty of theft, for taking her car and her belongings, and for defeating the ends of justice by hiding her body. For Meagan's family, the verdict was gutting. After years of waiting, they were left with questions and no official answer to who really ended her life. In 2024, news broke that Sears had been released on parole after serving time for the lesser charges. And as of the middle of 2025, the state is still appealing the acquittal, hoping to overturn the decision and finally bring full justice for Meagan. But even now, it feels like her story hasn't reached its true ending. The people who knew Meagan describe her as someone who radiated calm, who made others feel at peace just by being around her. In the years since her death, her story has become a painful reminder of how fragile safety can be, even in the most familiar places. But it's also a call for better investigations, accountability, and empathy for victims who can't speak for themselves. Because behind every headline, every court case, and every statistic, there's a person like Meagan, someone who loved, who was loved, and who deserved to live a full life. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button, share it with someone, and subscribe if you haven't already. Let's keep the conversation going in the comments. What are your thoughts on this case and on how justice was handled? I'll see you next Sunday with another story that still echoes.